This is obviously going to be a huge issue in 2008 for whoever's running for president. Iraq and radical Islam. Another issue that you want to see as a major issue is the environment, in particular global warming. Are you hearing anyone out there who may be thinking of running for president spending enough time and energy talking about this issue to satisfy you?
Global warming?
Yeah.
No, not yet, but it's early. And here's the linkage between those issues, Matt. The climate crisis is caused by the burning of all these fossil fuels, and our entanglement in the Persian Gulf region, where the biggest proven reserves are to be found, is linked to it. Here's the second linkage. There were clear warnings before the decision to invade Iraq that it was going to be a catastrophe. This was predictable. And the head of the army said, we don't have enough troops. Others said, this is a terrible mistake. And now what we're seeing with this report and all of the others is a situation that really where there are no good outcomes.
So you're saying
because
with global warming, the warnings are now, and if we don't heed that advice, we're going to have the same situation.
Except infinitely worse, because imagine on a global scale a nearly irretrievable situation. We still have time to avoid the mistakes that are creating this climate crisis.
What it makes me think is, from your point of view, if you were to run for president, you could take this issue to the next level, even just during a campaign. And if you were fortunate enough to win the presidency, you'd sit in the most powerful office in the free world with a real chance to you could be in a position to save the planet without putting too much emphasis on it. Wouldn't that be enough of a reason to run for president for you?
Well, I appreciate the impulse behind the question. I am not planning to run for president again. I'm involved in a different kind of campaign to change the minds of the people here in our country and around the world on why the climate crisis is the most serious crisis we've ever faced, and why we have to move into a completely different way of approaching it.
But as someone who feels as passionately about this subject as you do, and your documentary is evidence of that, why pass up the opportunity to have that world stage again? Because although you're a former vice president, being a sitting president would give you a much higher and much more powerful platform.
Well, again, I appreciate that very much. I'm not making plans to do it. I have no intention to do it. I haven't completely ruled it out.
You won't sit here and say, Matt, I will not run in 2008?
No, but that's merely because I was in it for a long time. I'm in the process of sort of shifting gears on this, but I seriously do not have any intention of doing it. And this climate crisis is my focus. I want to change people's minds on this so that the people who do run in both parties will encounter Americans who say, look, you have got to make this your top priority.
The New York Times said earlier this week that Barack Obama has the potential of upending the race more than any other Democrat, short perhaps of you. All right, so A, is Barack Obama the man to meet and the man to beat? And what are the chances that someone reaches out to you, makes a phone call, and gets you to upend this race?
Well, I think it's still too early. I can't use that answer much longer, but right. I do think it's still too early to evaluate the potential candidates who look as if they're planning to run. And I hope that all of them in both parties will address the climate crisis. I think that this Iraq disaster is not going to wait until 2008 or 2010 or whatever they're talking about here. And this is unfolding very rapidly. This is even worse than a civil war. But the climate crisis, again, is infinitely more serious, and we need to make it a bipartisan issue. We need to engage people around the country. There are house parties all around the country on December 16th focused on getting more people to see this DVD. And if you want to host a house party, you can go to algore.com. This is a bipartisan effort to change the way we deal with the most serious issue we've ever confronted.